Well, this is a super duper special edition of Juan Epstein. I'd say the most special we've ever done. We have just the reason that we're able to enjoy the music that we enjoy today in hip hop and all over pop music. We have the legendary Quincy Jones.
Oh,
woo! On Juan Epstein. Ow,
Yes.
indeed.
How are you, sir?
How are you, man? Thank you.
No,
Thanks for coming in, man. To see you doing. You have an album out, right? Or it's coming out tomorrow?
Absolutely. Soul Bossa Nostra.
So it's like some of your classic songs, like remade and stuff, songs that you produced?
6 years ago. Timbaland said we'd like to do the hip hop community like to do a tribute to all of your songs. And I've never experienced anything like that, and it's one of the greatest experiences ever because everybody just lined up and they picked their songs. Jamie Foxx, T.I., B.O.B., Red One, Snoop. Everybody from Snoop Dogg to Amy Winehouse.
Wow.
It's a serious lineup, you know.
It's like, do you know the effect you have on people, like especially from our generation, or do you just do your music and you don't pay attention?
Man. I just like to feel good and hope somebody else feels good.
Damn, because we feel great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That makes me feel good.
Yeah. I want to thank you personally for 100 Ways. Actually,
Thank you.
100 Ways, Scythe.
What's that?
James Ingram, off of the
Was
Dude,
he good?
Off of the
Compliment
Dude
what
album.
she does.
James
Roses
Ingram,
just because.
yes.
Was he good?
Yes, he was good.
Okay.
he was good. It was a good one.
I've been waiting for that call all my life. You don't call Frank Sinatra and say, I'd like to work with you.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. And I feel blessed that
Every book I ever read on Frank Sinatra, you're heavily mentioned in all of them.
well, you know, it's something you could never plan. And when I got on, I wanted to be a gangster till I was 11. I did.
So we all.
I came to Chicago. My father was a carpenter for the Jones Boys. All I saw were dead bodies, machine guns every day. 30s in Chicago. Chicago don't play, man. I got a switchblade in my hand at 7 to prove it.
Damn.
Ice pick in my temple, man. They don't play. And I found a piano when we broke into an armory out in Burlington. And from that moment, I knew that's what I'd do the rest of my life, you know.
Music.
And I was blessed to work with every major artist from Billie Holiday to Cab Calloway to Ella to Sarah, Louis Armstrong, Duke Basie, Ray Charles, Aretha, Frank Sinatra, Paul Simon, Michael Jackson, and I don't know how it happened.
Do you have a favorite?
Huh?
Do you have a favorite?
That's like asking my favorite child. No way. They were all so individual and so original. I couldn't have a favorite. I love all of them. Ella and Sarah, how do you pick between the two of them?
Yeah.
What'd you
Nina Simone,
do with Paul Simon?
Paul Simon, Something So Right. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm doing an album now with Tony Bennett and Stevie Wonder.
Remember that?
I remember that one as well.
I wrote that in 20 minutes.
20 minutes. 20 minutes, nothing.
Soul Bossa Nova too.
Are there any records of yours that were sampled where you ended up really appreciating the song that the hip hop record that
A
sampled
whole
it?
lot of them. Tupac's biggest record, How Do You Want It? His Body Heat. I used to get 36 samples a week. Number one spot is Soul Bossa Nova.
Yeah.
He got a
Of course, that's all.
Ludacris got a thing for it. Kanye West had one. LL Cool.
How about this one?
What?
Do you like this one?
I'm in the city. We got a lot of them on that.
Yeah, you got this is the Far Side's passing me by.
So like when I was younger and I was first started DJing, these records meant the world to me. But then when I found the samples where they came from, it opens your eyes up so much more. Like to hear the whole musical composition.
It's a very, very, very honored though to have them pay attention because I felt the same way about them. I go all the way back to the Last Poets, you know,
Yeah.
and the Watts Prophets, and I saw the whole evolution coming and Sugar Hill Gang and all of that stuff, you know, and it was always to me. My passion for 35 years, I've been studying from gospel to blues to jazz to bebop to doo-wop to hip-hop. It's all the same stuff. It's sociological. It came from my lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, and it hurts me that we're the only country in the world without a minister of culture. The only country.
Wow.
Really?
The only country without a minister culture. And our music is imitated more than any music in
Yeah.
the world. Everywhere in the
Arguably
planet.
the most important music there is in the world comes from the United States.
Yeah. And
Why
I
is
was in
it?
England when I saw Mick Jagger put the Rolling Stones together, Paul McCartney, all before the English invasion, all of that stuff. And Brazil and Cuba, who are the greatest music in the world. It's Africa, it's Angola and Brazil and Yoruba and Cuba. And it's also mixed heavily with Cuba, Yoruba, and Cantiera, the voodoo, like the Macumba in Brazil.
How did you first kind of fall in love with Brazil? How did the Brazil stuff start?
We went down there with Dizzy Gillespie on a State Department tour by Adam Clayton Powell. I put the band together for Dizzy, and we went to the Middle East first. We went to Iran, Abadan, and Aleppo, Damascus, Karachi, Beirut. Damn. That's where I spoke Turkish, learned how to speak Turkish.
Oh, really? That's where you
And I learned how to speak all those languages. And the best thing that ever happened to me, and that's what I advise to all young people, is before we went over with Lionel Hampton, I played with Lionel Hampton when I was 19, played trumpet. And Ben Webster said, "Youngblood, step into my office, I want to pull your coat." Half of the slang in hip-hop came from us. Leslie Young was calling basically Homeboy 80 years ago.
80.
And Cribs, man, and cool. All of that's bebop. That's why I connected all the time, because the rappers are so cool. And, Melly Mel never did pimp the hood, did he? The White Lines, the Message, he never pimped the hood. He was a real gangster, man.
Right.
And he came out and he saw God after Rikers Island, and he's a beautiful man. Kumo de all them cats, man. That's why I don't separate music, and the greatest gift I ever got in my life after my first television production when I produced Duke Ellington special for CBS, Duke, We Love You Madly. And afterwards, he died a year later, and that was my idol, along with Basie. He gave me a picture and said, "May you be the one to help to decategorize American music."
Wow.
It's all the same thing, man. It is. It's all connected. And Americans better learn that, because everybody in the world knows it. In Russia, they know Rimsky-Korsakov and Stravinsky, but they know our music. In Germany, France, if it wasn't for France, we wouldn't have jazz. In slavery and in Paris, And so my bottom line is I want to see more young people travel. You got to go to know.
Yep.
You've got to go. And 12% of Americans have passports, only 6% use them.
Wow.
And they don't know anything about the rest of the world, man. There's some stuff going on in China would blow your mind.
Isn't that always one of the things that boggles my mind when I meet underprivileged kids, and I realize how little they even, when they're in a world, let's say a violent world, where everything that happens and someone stepping on your sneaker is a big deal and turf is a big deal, they haven't had the privilege of getting to see how much bigger the whole picture is.
Where do you think I came from? Buckingham Palace, man?
Well, I know.
Outside of Chicago.
Exactly.
Give me a break, man. I saw a dead body every day. But I was so curious. It doesn't matter how much money you got. Go over there with a backpack, man. Sleep out in the fields, so you can get around and see what's happening in the world. Because it's amazing what's in Brazil and Abu Dhabi, and Dubai or whatever, Soweto. I've been with Mandela 40 years, or Kigali, where the genocides were, to all over China. And it's so important, man, because learn the languages. And Ben Webster said to me, "Youngblood, eat the music, eat the food that people eat, real people eat, the feijoada in Brazil. Listen to the music they listen to and learn 30 or 40 words in every language." And so I've got a few words in about 18 languages.
Wow.
And I'm studying Mandarin now. Ni hao, what a grandma.
I heard
Wow.
Mandarin.
What does that mean?
It says, "How are you, my brother? Thank you very much."
Mandarin's a tough one.
Ni, like to her. Ni.
Wow.
And it's fantastic, because when you walk in somebody's world and you speak one word of their language, you'd be surprised how the door it opens. And then they invite you in, they teach you more words, and you are showing love for their culture, and not saying, in France, "How come nobody over here speaks English?" Because it's France, Turkey. You're supposed to speak French. Parlons français.
Parlez-vous français?
Tu parles français?
Oui.
Wow. Wow. Ooh,
C'est formidable, ça.
I wish I knew more.
That's it. No, that's great.
No, but it's true. The doors that
Very important, man. Now with communications the way it is now, the man that created all of this stuff, the Mac 1, Mac 2, Alan Kay is my best friend for 35 years. He told me about the internet 30 years ago, and I thought he was smoking Kool-Aid. Everywhere you go in the world, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Xi'an, Hong Kong, everywhere in the world, everybody has 2 cell phones and a laptop. Everywhere on the planet, you know. And I thought he was crazy, and he's not. And he is also the one that told Steve Jobs with the iPad. He was at my house the day before yesterday. He told Steve Jobs, he says, you make the iPad 5 inches by 7 inches and you own the world.
you know that's next, right?
He's a genius. He's the Einstein.
And that has to be the way it goes. He's right.
A genius.
Now, speaking of technology, there's a lot of controversy with this Michael Jackson track that's out now, the breaking news that just dropped today. And of course, I need your expert ears to let me know if you think this is Michael Jackson or not.
Honey, I just listened to it.
You did?
When you stack somebody's voices 20 times, you can't tell who it is.
So does it sound, you don't think it's him?
It's stacked. You know, they do one voice, then they double it, and they double it, and they double it, and they double it, and double it. You can't tell. You cannot tell.
And that's coming if Quincy can't tell. If that
No, you can't. It's because there's too many stacks on it.
yeah.
And the stacks are not all really just like the original. You know.
Well, like I said, there's one track in the background that you can hear where it does sound like him, where it's not stacked. It's a single. You can hear him for a second. It sounds, but otherwise it seems
Can we
hard
hear
to
the
tell.
verse?